Hey everyone, do not sell your Bitcoin to Wall Street. So, how do I know that's happening? Well, Wall Street has been hoovering up a huge amount of Bitcoin over the last 2 weeks. The BlackRock Bitcoin ETF has been buying tens of thousands of Bitcoin. MicroStrategy, the company led by Michael Saylor, is buying tens of thousands of Bitcoin. Major publicly traded companies are buying huge amounts of Bitcoin. Marathon Digital is buying huge amounts of Bitcoin. A bunch of people are buying huge amounts of Bitcoin, and the price is still in the ballpark of $96,000. And the price has been mostly between sort of $92,000 and $98,000 most of the last 2 weeks. So, how do I know somebody is selling Bitcoin? Well, because there's a finite supply of Bitcoin, which means if they're buying tens of thousands of Bitcoin, that means somebody's selling tens of thousands of Bitcoin, which is tens of billions of dollars. Why is that happening? Well, a lot of people don't understand Bitcoin, so they buy it at, let's say, $65,000 a coin. It goes up to $95,000 a coin. They think, ooh, that's nearly a 50% profit. Maybe I'm supposed to buy low and sell high. Maybe I'll sell now and buy it back cheaper. Always a stupid idea. You don't know what high or low is. Nobody does. So that virtually always fails. Or people are thinking, ooh, I got a 50% return. I'll just move back into cash and feel good about what I did. This reminds me of a story. I was talking early to someone back in 2004. Actually, maybe it was '05, '06, whatever it was. Anyway, Google had just gone public, and it went public at $80 per share. And this person had bought a huge amount of Google stock at $80 a share and had sold it a few weeks later for $120 a share. Now, subsequently, Google went on to become one of the Magnificent Seven, one of the highest performing companies of all time. This person got a 50% return on Google when they should have had a 500,000% return or some ridiculous number. I don't know what the price is. It's gone through a bunch of stock splits. So the price back then as compared to now is, I don't know, radically higher. Let's call it 500x return, something ridiculous. So they should have had, let's call it 500x return or whatever it was. And instead they got a 50% return, which is a 0.5x return because they sold. They sold their Google stock, bought it at 80, sold it at 120. So people are doing that. They're called retail investors, people who kind of don't know what's going on. They're not sure what they're doing. They don't understand what they're hold. It's like somebody I talked to at one point who had bought Bitcoin at 5,000 and sold it at 20. And they felt really good. They had quadrupled their money from $5,000 to $20,000 per coin. Uh, well, that's great, except they could have 25x their money instead of just, 4x their money. They could have 20x their money, but they didn't because they sold it. So there is a lot of that going on right now. And there was a lot of that going on back when Bitcoin was trading for 7 months, mostly between $55,000 and $70,000 per coin. It had run way up from the 20s, 30s, and 40,000s all the way into the 60s. And there was a lot of people just selling their Bitcoin because they were too dumb to realize that they were never going to be able to buy it back at that price, probably for the rest of their lives. So a lot of people selling their Bitcoin the whole time, or virtually the whole time, for that entire 7 months. Wall Street was hoovering up, meaning sucking up, meaning buying up huge amounts of Bitcoin, and retail investors kept selling it to them. And, thinking, well, hey, the longer we hang out here at 65,000 a coin, maybe we'll never go anywhere. Meanwhile, the smart people on Wall Street are just buying up all the Bitcoin they can get at those prices. So the same thing is happening now. We're sitting at $96,000 per coin. There's a lot of people who bought at a lower price. A lot of them are saying, well, heck, maybe it's not going to go any higher. We've been stuck at this price for like 7 days now, maybe even 10 days. Give me a break. 10 days? Like in investing, you're supposed to wait like 10 years. And they're like, well, we've been stuck for like 10 days. Maybe it's not going any higher. Maybe I should get off. Maybe I should lock in my profit. And so they sell their Bitcoin, and Michael Saylor and his company MicroStrategy buys it up. And BlackRock buys it up, and Fidelity buys it up, and Franklin Templeton buys it up, and all the big firms on Wall Street and the publicly traded companies that are all buying Bitcoin, they're taking it out of the hands of the poor souls who are too dumb to understand what they're parting with. So please don't be one of those people. We're still very early in Bitcoin. There is a huge amount of upside remaining in Bitcoin before it becomes the future monetary system of the world. And please do not be one of the poor souls who sold their Bitcoin at $96,000 per coin and is going to be telling your friends about it when Bitcoin is $960,000 per coin. And you'll be bragging about how you bought it at 65,000 and sold it at 96,000 instead of what you should be doing, which is not bragging about a 50% upside. You should be telling them how you made, 15x upside or whatever that is, 50% more than 10x. You know, you should be making, 1,500% return, not 50% return. So that's the kind of asset Bitcoin is. Buy as much as you can, hold on to it as long as possible, and don't sell your Bitcoin to Wall Street because I promise they're not going to sell it back. At least not at any price you want to buy it for. So have a great day, everyone. Thanks.